Hello everyone and welcome to my post-match reaction even. I'm joined not just by myself this week, I'm joined by Chris, who was alongside us in the game today. So 1-1, first point of the season in the league, well, in anything really. First goal by Mel Lawley, absolutely buzzing about that. I feel like we needed a goal. But basically we're just going to talk through a bit of the game and get Chris's thoughts as well as my thoughts, because here we are. What do you reckon? I feel like we kind of started off really quite well, and that's been a trend throughout the whole of the season. I've said this on so many match reactions already, that we start really well and we look like we look are most likely to score in the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then after that it's like the other team loads the pressure on and we're feeling really quite insecure at the back. I don't know if you agree with that, but
I feel overall by far the best performance so far this season, the most dominant performance so far this season. I thought Liverpool started really well, put on the pressure, but then I said to Vicky Jackson after the game, when the goal goes in of the nature that it did, just a miss-hit cross flying over Price, and then you just start to think, any shoulder's going to shrug back, any head's going to go down, but no. Full credit to them, because it could have easily been 2-0 to Bristol City just minutes after that. Salmon threw one goal, hit the side net with her shot. I think she should have done better with it, and she'll know she should have done better, but it was a let-off for Liverpool. And after that, that was 16, 17 minutes. And after that, Price, I think she had one major save to make in the second half from Harrison. But overall, Liverpool, I think they'll be very happy with the performance. They would have loved 3 points. Would have done a massive 3 points. Would have obviously taken the ball.
They probably deserve the 3 points out of both teams.
They deserve the 3 points.
Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't go that way. But the most important thing is the first goal of the season, first point in the ball, because the longer that goes on, being the case that no goals,
it's almost
no
a bit
points,
of a burden, isn't it? The first, I was going to make that point, the fact that the first goal is a burden, and I think it's something that potentially was unconsciously hanging over the team and Jepson as well. So I think it's important that we've kind of nipped that in the bud, and it's like, okay, maybe this is going to be the acceleration to then score more goals in the future. And I think we're stood here saying, it's only 1 point, but that's a massive 1 point. We could have been looking at five defeats on the bounce, and then that's when you're thinking, now we're in a bit of trouble here.
One point's better than nothing.
Exactly.
It's a start. It's a grounding. It's a footing. It's allowing the team then to move forward. I do wonder though, obviously because Sweetman Kirk gets taken off, and I think she's a very good striker. It's just when strikers go through this lean spell, I think they start maybe taking an extra touch than they would have done, not making the movement that maybe she would have last season. It would have been interesting because obviously Babajide won the penalty and she came on for Sweetman Kirk. But if Sweetman Kirk had been on the pitch for the penalty, would she have taken it? Is a striker that
it would always
have the best
Lawley
confidence
that was going to take it anyways. I think the
great
thing
penalty, by the way.
Yeah,
very
brilliant. I think the thing with Sweetman Kirk is that, I kind of said this to you, she's gone from major confidence scoring nearly every single week, having all these accolades to of people saying she's a really good striker, she scores goals for us, she's so integral to our system. I mean, she's come into this season and been like, maybe she isn't, maybe she's not, this is just me thinking out loud. Maybe she's thought, I've got a lot to live up to here, I don't want to be under the bracket of a one season wonder type thing. And I think maybe the pressure of that, and the pressure of these new players coming in, and she's got to keep her standards high in order to kind of integrate these players, maybe that's on her mind, that she's sort of holding back a little bit, because that's what it looks like. Because we've seen her so many times getting in behind the defence, playing the balls, breaking the line, which a number 9 doesn't necessarily always do. But she was doing that last season. She was quick and she was fire, and she was getting in front of their back line. And I feel like we're not seeing that much yet. She's a yard behind, and she's trying to get through, but she's sort of in the wrong places. And it's maybe this is something that she's gonna progress further through the season in order to sort of
I think as well it's important to say, Sweetman Kirk, if she gets the opportunity, she will get the chances. But you and Lauren were saying during the game, so far this season the service hasn't been there. Charles and Clark were on the 2 flanks today, and I thought there was plenty of industry, a lot of hard work. Charles
we created chances, which is something we've not been doing.
Charles had some really good opportunities to cross the ball, but it was just the end product. That final ball wasn't there. If it had been there, Sweetman Kirk probably would have got 1 or 2 today. So again, it's not just to focus on her. Maybe it's focus on the team overall. But obviously,
just when
when your main striker feels confident, it doesn't half just show all over. But overall, I thought the two midfielders just today in the middle of the park, Roberts and Bailey, I thought again, industrious. It's just how much they could help going forward. I thought Lauren quite rightly said, player of the match. I thought she was superb today.
I think for me it would be between her and Charles, because I think Charles put in a graft today.
Again, I like a player that she never shied away from the ball. There was a part at the beginning of the second half where she wasn't getting on the ball as such, but she was by no means shying away.
Still
from
working hard.
Yeah, she was still working very, very hard for the team, and that's one thing. Professional football, the minimum you can do is work hard, and chances came at the end.
Exactly.
Again, if there'd been a better second ball, then there might have been the chance to win the game. But as Vicky said after the game,
you've got to be happy with it, haven't you?
You'd rather finish this game with 1 point than none.
Well, just a tiny word on Coventry then. I know Chris is on the pod this week because day off. I'm joking. Chris is on the pod this week, so I'm sure you'll talk about Coventry and all that sort of stuff. But what do you think the team needs to do to sort of adapt to this next game now? Is there anything like glaring to you that needs to change? Obviously, goals need to be scored and it needs to be a bit tighter at the back, because we do not want again what happened against Sheffield to happen again, but deja vu.
Well, I think you use the Sheffield game as a kind of
a marker.
A marker for this, really, because it did surprise me in that Sheffield United game, because it's not as if they're in midweek, so it's not as if you talk about rotation for players. It's at the weekend, so Sweetman Kirk, for me, she has to start that game. Just to get
the confidence.
Confidence, get her first goal. That is such a huge thing in the centre forward. And we said as well, look, Liverpool, it's a great group. It is a very good group. Obviously, poor result against Sheffield United, but they will still fancy themselves to go through. For the game as a whole, I think it's got to be a game where you build on this result, you build on the momentum you get in from this result, because it was a really good fight back today. Great spirit, great character, and I think a win against Coventry would just...
I think there's more to come. I think that's the main thing to take from this.
There are big games coming up. You've got Coventry, then Aston Villa as well in the Continental Cup, but then Birmingham, which is a huge game, and obviously the Merseyside derby soon as well. So big chance next few weeks for Vicky to really spur the girls on.
Start to look up. Be positive. Honestly, I want
to be positive.
Literally week after week wins across the board.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Honestly. Anyway, thanks for joining me on our match reaction today. Make sure you check out Lauren's player ratings. All the interviews that we went on, there was so many. That's going to be fun for the editing. But yes, please make sure you like this video. Comment what you think. If you agree with us, if you don't agree with us, comment what you think about Sweetman Kirk at the moment. Is she going to push on now? Blah, blah, all that sort of stuff. Make sure you subscribe. We're almost at 1,100, is that right? 1,100 subscribers?
No.
Something.
We're well over 1,100.
Yeah, that's what
just keep picking up.
Okay, 1,600. But yeah, make sure you like this video, comment and subscribe, and we'll be back with another video before you know it.